These may just look like regular old poppies to you, but what if I told you these poppies were used to make medicine? Today we are diving in and looking at the different types of changes. You've probably all heard of the concept of changing in states. This is a great example of a reversible change, because if I have a solid, like ice, and I add heat, the ice will melt, turning it into liquid or water, but I can take the water and freeze it, making it a solid again. Therefore, a reversible change, because I can reverse what I have done. However, there is a type of change called irreversible. Now, the name might give it away, but this type of change I cannot undo. For example, cooking a piece of toast. Once I place the toast in the toaster and it starts to cook, I cannot undo that change. This is Colin Ralph, and he is a scientist at Extractus Bioscience in the north of Tasmania, where he does extractions on plants or botanicals to make medicine. And why did you want to become a scientist?
I grew up in an industrial town in the northwest of Tasmania, so science was sort of all around me and chemistry. And as I got older, I got more into wanting to understand how things work, and particularly chemistry, and also zoology was an early like. So science was of major interest to me.
They're starting a unit that looks at reversible and irreversible changes. So, in your daily work, is it common to see examples of reversible and irreversible changes?
Yes, it is. So we extract chemicals called alkaloids from the poppy plant. I pull the alkaloids out of the physical material and I bring it in a solution. And I can't put it back into the plant once that's done. So that's an irreversible type of reaction. But later in the process, I make a solid of the medicine and I can redissolve it back into liquid, which is a good example of a reversible.
How do we know what type of change has occurred?
Really about that you cannot go back with the irreversible. It's actually changing substance, so a new substance is formed, whereas maybe a physical change or cooling down the water, I can make the water liquid turn into a solid. But I can also then heat the solid and put it back to a liquid. So I can.
And how important do you believe it is to work collaboratively in your field of work?
Very, very important. So obviously working collaborative, you share a lot of ideas. It helps people engage with each other. So they get along, they form a bond.
And would you say that it helps your research?
Yes, for sure. For sure. Because talking through with, let's say 5 people, there's 5 different views, there's 5 different opinions, and maybe one idea sparks another idea, which sparks another idea, and you get to a better solution, or you get to a solution quicker as well.
Thank you, Colin, for your time today. Let's recap what we learned. We learned that there are 2 types of changes, reversible and irreversible. We learnt that an irreversible change cannot be undone. An example of this is when Colin extracts the alkaloid from the poppy plant. We learnt that a reversible change can be undone, and an example of this is when Colin has made the medicine, dissolves it into a liquid, and makes another solid or medicine to make it cleaner. Where to next? Next lesson, we will look at our own reversible and irreversible change experiments. But before you go today, write down an example of both changes that you see daily.